All right. We are back at it again. Beep, 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 beep. It's me, I Sky. Welcome to another edition of Scattered Thoughts, where we are, or well, not we, me. I'm giving you 10 minutes of my scattered thoughts about something that's going on in the Destiny community, and you all give me your responses in the comments, and we have some good back and forth discussion as we want to model what it's like to have productive conversations on the internet. So, hop in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you're being toxic, I'm just gonna ignore it. Anyways, so let's hop in. One of the things that I say this almost every time, but that's been on my mind. But that's also part of why we do these is what's on my immediate mind. But something that I was thinking about a little bit while ago, a couple months ago, was some of, again, I won't say the creator's name because again, I don't want to. Obviously, when someone gets hammered with a lot of toxicity online, to kind of bring something up again can also sometimes reignite trolls and other things. So I don't want to do that. But for those who are around, probably know who I'm talking about. But there's a creator who, I think it was like 3 months ago. It was a little while ago. But there's a creator who's a person of color who um does a lot of helps, right? Because again, the topic, again, I didn't say this already, but the topic is talking about service streamers, right? Specifically Destiny service streamers. So a service streamer is someone who the majority of their content is based around providing a community service for the content. Again, maybe it's folks know that, but again, just to explain for the base of this conversation. But again, that's the majority of the content. The content isn't necessarily like just playing the game, or sometimes sherping people. Like the main bulk of their content is to like teach people, or to do trials with people, or to do dungeons and raids with people, right? That's the majority of the content. It's to like guide people, teach them mechanics, help them get better at the game. So when we're thinking about that and it's directly providing a service, there's this content creator, again, getting back to the main part of the story, who faced a lot of, well, not even a lot of backlash, but there's one person who was being really shitty. And then there was a lot of trolls that kind of tagged on. But this creator does a lot of helps with PV in game content. I've even participated in some of their streams. Great individual as far as I know. Again, I don't know them personally, but in terms of like I've been following them from like the past year. I've enjoyed their content. It's something like great that I'm able to listen to. And even if I can't visually look at it while I'm at my 9 to 5 job, it's always something nice to kind of have in the background. That's kind of like a podcast because they're really detailed about explaining mechanics and like talking about how to like maneuver through different encounters, especially when it comes to grandmasters or raids, right? So it's something nice to listen to. So they were just going about their normal everyday life. And there was this person who popped in the chat again. I'm hearing this, like I'm hearing this all be narrated by the creator, as well as some of the people who were assisting with the guides and the Sherpas. But apparently, there's this troll that comes in the chat and kind of blows up the chat, ends up getting banned. But like the whole thing was like, why is every time I see you, like you're dying, right? Why is every time I see the screen, like how can you call yourself a Sherpa when every time I click on your stream, like you're dead? And for folks who know, like the Destiny wipe screen when all characters have died, and this person handled it with a lot more grace than I probably would have. But they kind of like was like, "Shut up! Like, what are you talking about?" Really try not to engage. The person got banned because they were. Again, I didn't see the explicit message, but just hearing from the conversation, they were saying increasingly toxic things, and then got kicked out. So this person then follows up on Twitter and does the same thing as harassing. It was just like, "Oh, you suck. You're terrible. I don't know how you do it." And again, mind you, this person has literal thousands upon thousands, no exaggerations. They've shown it on screen before, but they literally have thousands of completions, not hundreds, thousands of completions. They've been playing the game a long time. And their whole thing is just like being cool, being silly, helping out the community, right? Um, and the fact that this person comes in is like, every time I see you, you're trash. And the fact that it kind of blew me, and also like going back and watching the VOD later after I got off work, it was just so wild to be in a space where you have this person who really just found this ownership, had this audacity of ownership over this person, to really name that, like, again, when you're helping other people, it doesn't matter how good you are at the game. If people don't understand the mechanics, if you're still people are still trying to get used to enemy spawns and the different cadences of the encounter, you may not always be successful. You might fail a couple times, but the fact that this person had particularly persecuted this individual who's well known in the community, and we had never seen, and apparently like folks had like looked this troll up and other things, but never had like, and is in a lot of other people's chat, which a lot of people started to like ban that person and kind of move forward. But the fact that like they never harass anybody else who like has similar stats who's not a person of color. Like that was the track record. It was what people I looked up later is that like this person had gone to specifically people of color service streamers and was harassing them. And really just like being negative, being toxic for no reason. And for me, I think this also pairs well with like not pairs well like it's a good thing, but I think it's also like very parallel to like other conversations, which I know there's a lot of creators who kind of make skits about it now, but like talk about people who just hop into their chats, will be like, hey, are you running deep stone crypt or whatever, and I need to be running deep stone crypt with you, I need to be running this dungeon with you, and then when they don't get what they want, they leave, right, or unfollow or all these other things. And it's just like when someone is choosing when someone makes the conscious choice that I'm going to be the type, again, there's a lot of different ways you can exist in community, especially like in a gaming community. But when someone makes the conscious choice that I'm going to put the emotional, intellectual, and physical labor of being on stream, oftentimes these people are streaming for like 10, 11, 12, 14, 24 hours. Like people are streaming for very long extended times because they want to help communicators. They make the choice to help people, and then this is how consistently, again, I don't know the racial identity of the people who are trolling, but like people of color consistently being at the end of a lot of jokes, a lot of toxic jokes, a lot of like toxic behavior, a lot of trolling, where non POC, peers aren't facing the same thing, right? Obviously there's trolls of all different kinds. There's a lot of nuance. Again, we really this is not what I'm trying to get at, but I'm in terms of like there's a lot of people who face harassment who are big creators, right? So we're not erasing that experience, but the fact that there is a particular experience that continues to happen in the community, kind of how we talked about in the first edition, where we were talking about like what it looks like to exist in the Destiny community in its current standing, where you have these creators of color in the community who are facing, especially creators of colors as well as women and femmes of color, who are, or just in general, are facing this very specific harassment and discrimination from people who are trolling. Again, people who are trying to dox people, who are trying to like send hate rates, do all these different types of things. And for me, it continues to baffle me how people just have this ungirdled audacity to treat service streamers in general. Again, we can talk about service streamers more broadly in a different segment, but the fact that like people truly just have the goal, the audacity to sit and use their time, first off, to just be toxic, but then two, to sit in a space where like you're persecuting, discriminating, harassing creators of color who are providing a service. Obviously there's big creators. I was gonna say a service free of charge, but like it is technically free because you're not charging people. But obviously these people can sub or whatever. Anyways, we're getting on a tangent. But the fact that these people are choosing to have a service to the community, choosing to help people, choosing to add positivity and helpfulness, that so many people will walk out of these service streamers, both the stream I was talking about and others, and like, oh, now I know how to do this dungeon. Oh, now I can help someone else do this raid. All these different things because it's helping the community. But you continuously will look at these people as objects. You'll look at these people as just toys, things that you can just like toy around with and play around with and not actually respect as human beings that are giving their time. And ultimately, as we've seen, unfortunately, a number of times, leads to these people uh burning out, these people like taking extensive breaks, and in some cases, we've seen a couple of those community members just straight up leave, right? So for me, per usual, we like to leave off on a question: is what can we as a community do to really respect when someone has chosen to be a service streamer, chosen to offer something tangible to the community? but is not receiving the respect they deserve.